Hey whales, good morning. Happy Monday. Let's go over Tesla for today's trading session. Let's break down Tesla. So I want to go over Tesla in two different scenarios. All right. So a much shorter time cycle on the 30-minute time frame. The bullish path is that we did put in the slow at 218, right? So we're working on a bullish sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in blue, right? And then finishing off a potential A, B, C, testing these lows before we hold it and we go up one more time. Okay. There's been a lot of selling pressure, guys, right? And this can get pretty sketchy and pretty deep retracement. It does. The markets are starting to look impulsive towards the downside. I'm not favoring this count as of now. Right, extremely bearish so far across the S&P 500 to QQQ. Just take this with a grain of salt. But if we were to bounce, guys, right? If you were to long 250 down to 240 and it goes up for a bounce, you want to make sure when you do have your stop loss, you want to raise your stop loss to your entry price, right? Let's say you're long at 250, you want to raise your stop loss to that as we bounce, so that if it does correct and does something funky and go even deeper down here and all the way down, right? Who knows? You're going to be breaking even. You're going to protect your capital and you're not going to lose any money, right? So make sure when you do have your stop loss, keep trailing it, keep your risks in order, right? You want to have a risk-free trade. So we're seeing whether or not we have that A wave for a B wave bounce, right? And either we're going to keep the higher low and keep going up, or we have testing one more time down to the C wave, close to that invalidation level, and try to push up as well. Okay, you can take a look at the 4-hour time frame. This is sort of the overall arcing view, where if an A wave, B wave coming down like this, and then the C wave pushing higher. Okay, so that's sort of that bullish path. Now, for the bearish path, right, or the alternate path, this is sort of what I'm favoring as of now because of how bearish the markets have been. Right, we're putting in a triple correction where we're putting in a W, X, Y, and then another X for a failed impulse, right? This was the top, and then coming down for the lows. Okay, let me get rid of some of these strongs, right? Coming down for the lows, okay? So we're looking at another Z wave here, all right? And then ultimately finishing off an A, B, C, closer down to 180, down to 100. I know that's kind of scary, right? But if the markets are telling us that there's more pain to come, we have to be prepared in all scenarios, right? So if you're a long-term investor, right, don't worry, right? I do have Tesla going up to $550 or $500 plus in the future. So, these are just times to accumulate, and, lower prices means more upside into the future. So, this could always be a possibility where we have an X and then a Z wave coming down closer to 180 to $100, right? So let's see, right? We don't know yet until these lows are breached at 218, but in my opinion, I'm favoring this for now. Tesla really needs to show me some strength, right? It really needs to show me some strength, right? And start breaking some highs here. Let's go over and break down Nvidia for today's trading session. With Nvidia, guys, on the shorter time cycles, I'm on a 4-hour chart right now. We are testing the lows here, right? And I do believe that eventually we're going to breach this and break below. I see a sort of impulsive structure that's forming, and we could be going all the way down to make 5 waves here in blue, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, finishing off wave 5 and an A wave here, okay? Now, when we do breach these lows, there's going to be bullish divergence starting to form, guys. There's going to be bullish divergence starting to form where seller exhaustion is starting to form. So we most likely will get that bounce up for a B wave, right? But I do believe as long as the price stays below the invalidation level here, we're going to be continuously heading towards the downside. If you take a look at the weekly time frame, okay, I'm on the weekly time frame here. Again, I see this as sort of a bearish pattern, right? We have a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And it looks like we're putting in a W, X, signifying a failed impulsive wave, coming down for a Y wave here. Okay, so overall, right, there could be mini bounces, right, small little bounces, but overall, the structure seems to be bearish. If I take the equal lengths from the swing highs down to the swing lows, right, we're looking at Nvidia anywhere between $84 to $60 here. on the weekly time frame, right? The larger time scale. There's going to be intraday bounces, right, along the way. However, the overall structure tends to lean a little bit more bearish here, right? This does look like a top for me in terms of just, a distribution, right? Rather than accumulation, we see distribution at the top versus scale. That looks pretty bottomy for me, right? So we're looking for more downside here on Nvidia closer to 84.60. You can also take a look at the Semiconductor ETF for SMH. SMH, again, looks like an ABC or WXY, wherever you want to call it, but the equal lengths is closer down to 187, down to 136, right? So there's constant pressure on this ETF to make some new lows again. There's going to be intraday bounces, right? We could bounce here and then come down, right? But overall, the structure does look a little bit more bearish to me at this point, okay? You can see, right, we are forming as well sort of a parallel channel. So pretty indicative as of now, okay? I'm going to have to see some strength out of Nvidia to really get us out of sort of this bearish structure, right? On this bounce, I need to see, instead of breaking down, we need to make higher lows and start breaking some of these highs, right? To call this an official low. But until then, validation levels set. Looking for more downside. It's unfortunate, right? It's unfortunate because I am going to take a loss. I did long this level for a day trade, but it looks like I'm going to be taking a loss here, guys, especially if it breaks below 104. So, yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game, right? We're just going to keep pushing forward and see and make the high probability trades, right? So let's see. Until then, I'll keep you guys updated every single day. Just stay safe out there, right? Stay patient. And this is just temporary, right? This is just temporary until 2025, 2026. I'm telling you, we're going to skyrocket out of here into the future. Okay. So just got to get through some levels, right? Nvidia is an amazing company. So if you're still an investor, keep accumulating, right? Take your time, keep accumulating. You'll be just fine. So yeah, talk to you guys soon.